Hi there, Sam DeMarco is my name from NB & Co. If you're watching this video, you'll obviously want to tell your story about what you're doing with your connected farm, and what we want to do is give you some tips and tricks on how to best frame up your shot in order to tell your story in the right way. Before we get into the guts of a case study, just want to give you a bit of an idea around the setup, which is quite important, and this could really make or break the video in which you're going to tell your story. Firstly, I want to talk about setup. So what you need to do is have an idea of your surroundings. All right, and first is the light. So you want to position yourself where you've got some good light on yourself as the talent. Where I'm standing at the moment, we've got the sun rising over here in the east and obviously around in the west. Make sure that you don't have the sun in the background, which obscures you and puts you into a bit of shade. You don't want to have too much sun from one side, which casts a shadow on the other side of you. Okay, the next piece is around how you frame the shots around you. Pick a good shot in the background and tell the story of where you are. All right, so what we've got here, we're standing on my property. All right, so in the background there, nice shot of a pasture. A couple of animals may walk in and out of the shot, and the water trough. If you've got something which are your cattle yards or an old homestead or a shed, something which brings to life the character of your property, then most certainly get that into your shot. What you want to look for though within that shot is that there's going to be nothing distracting in the background. Now once you've got the shot all framed up, what you want to do is then position yourself as the case study. So if you're an individual talking to the camera by yourself, such as I'm doing today, you want to position yourself left or right of centre. All right, in what we've got now. The reason for that is most people look to the centre of the screen, and by you standing to the side, you're far more engaging with your audience. It also then allows people to look at the scene that you've just set in terms of your background. The other thing you want to do is position yourself within the screen. You don't want to stand too far back here, which people tend to do, and you lose the story. So what you want to do is position yourself again, left or right of centre, within the screen, and you want to stand here and leave very little headroom in between you and the top of the screen in the set. Now lastly, within the setup, what I want to talk about is miking your talent up or miking yourself up. If you're in a nice quiet surround like this, you might find that the sound quality is quite good. If not, if you have access to an external mic, we certainly recommend that you use that, just so that it can muffle out any external noise if in a noisy environment. Cue the bird. And the last tip before you get started, do a dry run. Talk to the camera, film the first little bit, then play it back to yourself. What you want to be looking for is that you've got the setup right, you've got your background framed correctly, you've got yourself positioned within the shot, you've got the light working in your advantage, and most importantly is the sound. What you don't want to do is shoot this beautiful video, then go away only to find that you've got a whole lot of wind noise or distraction or something in the background which is taken away from the story that you need to tell. Okay, let's get started. What I want to do now is start to step you through the steps of the case study. In your toolkit, you have a storyboard and a script document which talks about the key messages that we want you to hit, and also a visual which talks about the shot within the screen. What we're wanting to do there is to make sure that we're capturing you and your environment telling your story, but also having some visuals so that when you're describing your location and where you are in your operation, we can sit there and overlay some images on top of you talking, just to describe where you are. So what we'll do now is we'll step through that example. I'll show you what a case study can look like. Okay, first let's start with the introduction. What we want to do here is introduce yourself. We're to introduce your property and your farming operation, and then the location for which you reside. So if we just go through this just now, I'll give you an example of that. Hi, I'm Sam DeMarco, and I run this property here called Ortigia Grove. Ortigia Grove is located in Dorrigo. Dorrigo is a small regional town located on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. Set up high in the tablelands, we're known for high summer rainfall, rich red soils, rainforest, prestige waterfalls, and lush green pastures. It really lends itself to our beef finishing operation. So what we want to do next is frame up your business. Give a bit of context about your business, your operations, and what you do. And this is going to be the precursor to talk about the connected farm situation or solution that you put in place. The reason for that is we want to sit there and give people an idea in terms of what you do, but then also the challenges that you're trying to overcome, and then what the solution provides. Our operation is a relatively small one by comparison. We operate on 180 acres of flat pasture to undulating pasture to very steep country, which is what Dorrigo is sort of known for. We have a big belt of rainforest which runs through our property, which presents a bit of a challenge. We're a grass finished beef operation. Our target market are restaurateurs and consumers who really value the traceability and visibility of beef production and are seeking a natural, clean product. As such, we adopt natural processes such as intensive rotational grazing. By rotating our cattle each day, we're able to optimise our forage production and consumption, which is very important because we can sit there and better manage our consumption to match growth rate targets. The other benefit is that we can concentrate the animals in a tight area and concentrate their waste over a spread area. And what that does is allow us to have natural fertilisation of the soil and increase soil fertility and organic matter. The other benefits that we get out of this process is the animal's health, is we're not continually running stock over their waste. Now, for all its benefits, intensive rotational grazing is very costly. It is a very labour intensive operation. So as a family run operation here, we don't necessarily have the luxury of time, nor do we want to go out and get external labouring. So for us to save time in this operation while still delivering our product to our target market, we had to look at ways of which we could do things a little bit differently. So we turned to technology to see if that was going to be a solution for us. Okay, now that we've got a bit of context about the operation in which you're running, what we now want to talk about is the connected farm solution. So you've talked about the challenges and the opportunities that you have. Now we want to piece together what it is you've actually done on farm and then talk about the real world benefits that come with. Our connected farm has a variety of different elements to it. We've deployed a series of sensors that monitor our watering system across the farm. What that allows us to do is understand the water flow rates. We can then better understand the water consumption of the animals versus the weather. We can also have a look at the water evaporation versus the temperature as well. Other sensors that we've deployed on farm are soil moisture probes. The data that comes off the soil moisture probes helps us understand the moisture obviously in the soil, but if you couple that with weather data, and then you couple that with species growth rate data, we're better able to understand our pasture growth rate, but then we're also able to understand with that what our movement of our stock is going to be based on the consumption needs versus our target growth rates, which then helps us with our stocking rates. And lastly, we've deployed a piece of software called Pasture Maps. What Pasture Maps allows us to do is to manage our herd movements. We get alerts, we set up movements ahead of time, we can manage our pasture data and store data, we can then create our to-do list online, and we do this all in field. When we go back to the homestead, it uploads into our master plan. The beauty about this software here is it works offline as well as online. We estimate that by deploying this solution that we save a few hours a week. Now that's quite important for a small family operation and a family with 4 children. Any time we can save is more time that we can spend either on the business, enjoying life with the family, or sitting back on the couch having a beer watching the footy. The other benefit we have found, and most importantly, aside from time, is that we're better able to manage our farm operations with fine precision. So what that allows us to do is carry more stock, turn off more stock, which increases our revenue. Okay, now we want to talk about how your farm's connected. The situation that we're trying to explain here, which is very true in most rural circumstances, is that you may have a connection to the homestead, to the shed or some other structure, and then you go out into the field in the paddock. We have an NBN fixed wireless connection to the house. As soon as we get out of the house, we have 4G coverage, which is sketchy at best, but also 3G coverage. But what we find as soon as we get away from the house and we start getting into the middle and bottom paddocks, we lose that service very, very quickly. To overcome that challenge of connectivity, we've deployed a solution in a local network called LoRaWAN. Now what that LoRaWAN solution does for us is it pushes signal out into the paddocks to the sensors to ensure that we have connectivity to and then connectivity back to the homestead where it connects our NBN connection through to the World Wide Web. We did a fair bit of investigation to put our solution together. It cost us about $3,000 for the initial setup. The ongoing fees are quite reasonable, I think. For the cost of the net profit of one beast, we're able to cover our running cost of that solution for 12 months. We did get a lot of help whilst putting that solution together from a company called Automag, particularly around LoRaWAN. LoRaWAN is a very new technology, still in development. So we found it best, whilst there was limited information and conflicting information, to enlist the help of a professional. And Andy from Automag really stepped through things, described it in plain language, and helped us put our solution together. Okay, so lastly, what you want to do now is just give some advice for people in similar situations to you that can learn from your experience. Each enterprise is different, I get that, but what I can confidently say is by deploying a solution similar to what we've done here, you're going to have some impact to your bottom line. There are a lot of solutions out there. We are farmers, we are certainly not IT professionals, so I recommend doing your research online, talking to family, talking to friends, talking to other producers that you might be talking to through your membership and your membership organisation. What you'll find is that businesses that provide solutions are either very isolated and only look after water sensors or look after soil moisture probes, but there's also other organisations out there which kind of aggregate all those solutions and put them together for you. So I recommend just having a conversation tour. We recommend that you shop around. The solution that we put in here is very simple. Shop around, find the right people, put together the solution yourself, or seek the advice of a professional. Okay, so there you go. Hopefully that helped you through the process on how to put a case study together. If you do get stuck throughout the whole process, don't fret. There is the script and storyboard to use as a guide. There's this video to watch there again, or feel free to contact the NBN crew at connectedfarms@nbnco.com.au. Thanks for your time. We look forward to hearing and seeing your story.